I'm Sue Furry, and I live here in South Bend, Indiana. I am 47 years of age, and I was diagnosed when I was 45 with DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ. I went in actually to begin a smoking cessation and have my doctor look at my left breast with a lump. She was overboard, being I was 45 and had never gone in for a mammogram. Her first question obviously was, why? I stated because I give myself exams, and also I come in yearly for my clinical exams. That what's the point? I have no history of cancer in my family at all. I made an appointment, and they called me back 10 days, which I thought was kind of odd, stating that they couldn't get a clear enough reading because my breasts were dense. But there was also some other suspicious characters on my one breast versus the other, and I said, oh, my left breast. No, ma'am, it's your right breast. She states that it shows some microcalcifications on my right breast. So I said, all right, what's next? Diagnostic mammogram. We need to get a better screening result. And I said, okay, fine. We need you in here tomorrow. I went in for my diagnostic, and they said we need to do an ultrasound on your left breast. So right away I'm thinking, oh, good, that's the microcalcification is all it simply is. It's fibrocystic cysts on my right breast. My left breast, with the ultrasound, proved that there was nothing there. It was fatty tissue. And she says, well, you already know there's microcalcifications in your right breast. And I said, yes. And she says, but there's several clusters. Well, she scheduled me immediately the following day for not only a stereotactic biopsy, but a core needle biopsy. And they were able to get 12 actual biopsied sites. All 12 were malignant. I ended up with a couple choices. I went to 3 different opinions. They all 3 gave me the same diagnosis, same results, same type of statements as far as what treatments I could have done. 50% chance that I would have a no recurrence if I went with a lumpectomy and radiation, or I would have a 90% chance of no recurrence with a mastectomy. I have 2 children. My daughter is 29 and my son is 26. And I'm happily married, just celebrated 30 years last Monday. And my thought were, I'm not having children. I've raised my babies, but I want to be here for my new babies. Let's get it out. And I think it's a no-brainer, do the mastectomy. So I, going through the 3 opinions that I got from 3 local surgeons and my research off the internet and through my Young Survivors group, it took me about 3 months to make my final decision. But also because my daughter was coming home for Christmas that year. I was diagnosed in October of 2005. And I thought, it's not really a rush. So I had my mastectomy in January and went through a lot of treatment of latissimus dorsi reconstruction. That's about it. The final results from my diagnostic, I was at home. I knew that the doctor was going to call me. The doctor did call me. It wasn't the nurse. It wasn't the medical manager in the office. It was her herself. I recall her stating that all 12 were malignant. But I also recall her stating, and I thought it was very coy and cold. It's not the end of the world. Well, at that point, it was the end of the world. My daughter had just announced 2 weeks before I was diagnosed. My husband and I are big rock and roll fans and went to Chicago to see the Rolling Stones. And we got a surprise call on our cell phone that she was announcing that they were going to get married, and they live in Florida. My gut reaction was, how do I tell my kids? Besides getting married, the happiest days are when you have a child. Well, that was my child. No one can tell you differently of how you're going to react when you tell them. Well, the mother came out of me, and breast cancer survivors are called warriors, and mothers are warriors. I did everything in my power to make sure that I'd live for my kids. But number one, I live for myself. And without my faith, my family, and my friends, I don't know where I'd be right now. I think a lot of it, you have to do soul search. And when I was going through all this, and especially now, I know that I'm not invincible because I had to literally let my guard down and allow someone else to take care of me. Well, I've always been the personal caretaker, the mom, the strong one. I finally broke down and stated as they were walking me through the hallways, and I remember specifically looking up at my husband and squeezing his hand, and I said, it's all in their hands now. I used to always hear from my friends. In fact, I just got off the phone with one of my best friends a little while ago. She stated I've always been a very strong person. Well, I'm stronger than what I was. And it's okay to cry. Mammograms are very huge, and they're very important because mine is not able to be detected except for through a mammogram. Being afraid to go in for treatment, I think that's only common. But rely on your friends and your family, but most important, your faith. And as the doctor stated to me when she called at the very beginning, it's not the end of the world. Get the support out there. I have a huge support network. And you know what? It's an oxymoron. I just told my girlfriend this. And breast cancer survivors, you're a survivor the minute you're diagnosed. It's one of the best things that's ever come into my life because it's made me for who I am today. And I'm such a strong advocate when it comes to trying to not find a cure, but trying to stop it before it even happens.